to my cottage kitchen. Today our topic is purging our pantry by utilizing ingredients that we have on hand and shopping for what we need to complete a menu utilizing those ingredients. So when I say purge the pantry, I don't mean taking a great big garbage bag and throwing all your food in it. I actually am asking you to utilize the food that you have on hand. Number one, it's going to make more space in your cabinets for healthier food choices so we can focus on eating fresh foods, less processed foods, and making a menu and sticking to it so that we're saving money by not wasting food. So what we want to do today is I just kind of want to talk to you about the process of purging your pantry and utilizing the food that you have on hand. And I'm going to show you. This is the end of the month. And at the end of every month, I like to use all the food that I have on hand. So what I do is I take an inventory during the beginning of the last week of the month, and then I shop according to recipes that are going to utilize those ingredients in my inventory. So I have a couple of examples I want to show you, but I also want to show you the clean slate that I like to start with at the end of every month. The beginning of the next month, I have a clean slate to go to the grocery store and really plan out my menus and really focus on buying foods that are healthy. Now, just a note, remember we talked earlier about shopping in the grocery store. The bulk of our time in the grocery store should be spent along the walls, the periphery of the grocery store, because that's where all your fresh foods are, your fresh whole foods, non-processed. Once you get into the middle of the store with the labyrinth of all of those aisles, that's where you spend the most of your money and you spend the most of your time. It's also impulse buying. That's when your cart gets filled up with a lot of unnecessary items and not necessarily planned purchases that are going to complete the menu that you have planned out, but also a lot of those are impulse buys, and you want to focus on buying food that's part of the menu that you're going to prepare, but also healthy for you and your family. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of my blank slate for my pantry and my refrigerator and my freezer. I also want to talk about some heat and eat meals that we can make in advance, as well as some crock pot meals that we can start putting together with some of the ingredients. Okay, so here I am in front of my refrigerator, and I just want to make a note in case this is a good strategy that works for you. I made a whiteboard out of my refrigerator, and this is where I can write my menu for the week, my prepared snacks, my lunches. So on Sundays, that's what I do, and it's a clean slate. So now I have a great opportunity to plan out a healthy menu so that I have a framework for the food that I need to prepare for the week. Now this is my refrigerator, and you can tell it is a clean slate. There is very little food left from the residual month. So all of the shopping that I've done, all of that food has been used, and so therefore not a waste of money. And it gives me the opportunity to really buy some healthier foods and focus on making sure that my refrigerator is well stocked. So I just want to show you, this is the residual food from this month that was opened at the beginning of the month. These are the condiments. So I will be focusing on making menus utilizing the salad dressings and the buffalo wing sauce and some mustard and some garlic. That way, those are used by the end of the month. And I also like to date them. I'll write on with a permanent marker the date so that it will be a reminder for me that I need to use those foods. This is a quiche that I made just this afternoon, and this was made out of just odds and ends that were still left in the kitchen, a pack of spinach, some mushrooms, 2 half bags of shredded cheese that I hadn't used yet, some eggs, and half a tomato that was left in my vegetable bin. So those were all combined to make a quiche. Now this can be frozen, but it's a heat and eat meal, so I can eat that in the next couple of days. My family can eat it. I'll have my mom over for coffee, and we can have quiche in the morning. Another thing that I'd like to mention, when you have children or grandchildren that are in your home or come to visit, you want to make sure that they have healthy food choices that are at their level. So encourage your children or grandchildren to eat healthier foods by putting fruits and vegetables at their level to make it easy for them to reach in and grab, so that when they open the refrigerator and they're hungry, it looks appetizing, it's in a pretty bowl, and they're more eager to reach in and grab an apple than having to pull open all these different drawers to find it. Okay, over here, just another example. This was a red onion that I have no idea why I purchased it, because I usually don't eat red onions. But since I had it left over and I didn't want to waste it, I went ahead and sliced it and turned it into pickle onions. And I can use this on a salad next week when those have had time to pickle. These are all my jellies that I just gelled, and so those are firming up. And then this is my oatmeal with milk and quinoa and chia seeds. So that's a good breakfast in the morning. But you can see my blank slate gives me the opportunity to purchase better, healthier foods when I'm at the grocery store. Now let's look at the freezer. So in here, these are my heat and eat meals that I've just made from the ingredients that I had on hand. This is a heat and eat. This is fettuccine, meatballs, and spaghetti sauce. So, you know, I have a meal prepped. If I come home and I'm not feeling well, or I get home late, somebody here at the house can go ahead and get that cooked, and when I get home, dinner's ready, or it won't take me long to fix it. This is my Mexicali tortilla soup. That's just with some beans and corn and odds and ends that I had, but it makes a really wholesome crock pot meal, so that I'll thaw out the night before and pop it into the crock pot. This is chicken tortellini soup, and so that's another heat and eat meal already prepared, ready to go, so that, you know, when my busy weeks get too busy, I have plenty of food to eat. This is some quiche that I've made before. You can see that I date everything, but this is individually wrapped, so I can just take those and grab them for lunch, put them in a lunchbox, and that way I'm focusing on eating healthy. I want to show you my little pantry. This is a cottage. There's not a lot of storage in this kitchen, and I choose to use my cabinetry for storing my cooking utensils because I do a lot of baking and cooking. So I don't want to use all of my cabinetry to house boxes and boxes and boxes and cans and cans and cans of food. I use everything by the end of the month. So I'm going to show you my little pantry, and you can see the clean slate that I have in making food choices. This is my pantry. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of space to store food. So I store it in these little bins. This is my pasta bin, and I try to make healthier food choices by using black bean pasta. And I like to use this pasta in soups. So those are some things that I'm going to be looking forward to using. I also have another pasta rice bin. Most of my food is fresh, so I don't store a lot of packaged carb-based food. So that's just what my preference is. This is Declan's snack basket, and so he has his snacks in here. This is between the refrigerator and this. This makes it very easy for him to get some food that he wants. All right, here is my baking. This is my bin. It has all my oils, my sugars, all of my baking items. So when I want to bake, I can just pull that out. And then this is my spice bin. And remember, we talked about grouping spices. Instead of pulling out 5 or 6 different bottles to season one dish, I can group my spices. This is a curry spice mix. This is what I use on pork. And this is just spices I had on hand that I like to combine to make that curry mix. Now you can see my little spice cabinet's getting a little overflowing, so I'm going to have to make some new spice mixes just to kind of keep the clutter down. This is my dry storage. This is where I store my rices and my cornmeal, my dried beans and peas, my breadcrumbs. All of that's pretty much my kitchen, and the process of purging my kitchen and making sure that I'm eating healthy, my family's eating healthy, and that I don't become overwhelmed with too much food. It's actually easier to cook with limited ingredients. You don't get overwhelmed. You're not moving everything out of the fridge to try and get to things. You really, it's just so much more efficient. So I kind of keep it in a minimalist. Now, you know, next week when this is all full again, it'll be different, but you can see there's very little waste, and that saves me money. I already have food prepared, so I'm not going to stop by and grab fast food. I'm not going to be eating out this week. I'm going to be busy focusing on the filming and getting every nook and cranny cleaning done and helping you through this journey. So to make wonderful menus and be able to utilize the investment that you've made in all of this food so that it doesn't go to waste. I thank you for joining me. I look forward to our next segment. We're making progress in our journey, and I am so excited that we are focusing on purging our pantry and making healthier food choices.